Hi, welcome to Business Law TV. I'm your host, Anki Kwan. I'm a California lawyer, and in this episode, I wanted to talk about what many lawyers won't tell you when it comes to financing your company or raising money for your company. I thought about this topic because I'm thinking back to an interview I once had with a law firm, and as part of the interview, I was asked to reenact a situation where I advised a client about their fundraising options. And I told my interviewer that I advised my client to raise money with non-accredited investors. Now, this isn't typical when you raise money in the United States. The story is that you have to go after accredited investors. And the reason is because it's easier to raise money from accredited investors because you don't have to disclose as much information. So many lawyers advise their clients to avoid non-accredited investors. But in the situation I was in, my client knew friends and family that were interested in investing in his company, and those people weren't accredited. And if we were to use rules that only allowed fundraising from accredited investors, then this company wouldn't have been able to raise any money. So his only options were to raise money from non-accredited investors. And for a lot of small emerging stage companies, this is also true. They don't have access to accredited investors because they're either not in their network or those investors simply aren't interested in investing in those types of companies. If you're one of those companies, your options are you have to either bootstrap your company, which is limiting because you're limited to the amount of money that you can put into your company. And you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're using your entire savings in order to fund your company. Another option is you can borrow money from a bank, but bank loans aren't necessarily easy to get. A lot of small businesses don't qualify for bank loans. And you can also get money from friends and family. A lot of small businesses do raise money from their friends and family. But in the United States, there's a set of laws called the Securities Laws that you have to comply with if you're raising money and you're promising your investors a return on their investment. Even if you're not advertising your offering, and even if you're only raising money from people you know, you still have to comply with the securities laws. But if you know how to use the securities laws, you can raise capital creatively. There are a few ways you can raise capital from non-accredited investors, and those are Rule 504. That's an exemption to registration. Under the securities laws, you have to either register your offering with the SEC or you have to qualify for an exemption. It's very expensive to do a registered offering. It can cost up to $1 million or more. So most companies, when they're first starting out, they use exemptions to allow them to raise money. One of these exemptions is called Rule 504. And Rule 504 allows you to raise up to $5 million from both accredited and non-accredited investors. Rule 504 doesn't have any requirements about what types of information you have to give to your investors. So you can give whatever information you want to give to your investors as long as that information isn't fraudulent, and you have to give them enough information so that you're not making a fraudulent offering. Under Rule 504, you also have to comply with the rules in the states where you're raising money. Another thing you can do to raise money from non-accredited investors is to get a permit to raise money in California. In California, if you get a permit, you can raise an unlimited amount of money from accredited and non-accredited investors. And you can even advertise that offering. That means you can tell anyone you want about that offering. You can advertise it on a website or however you want to advertise your offering. You can do that if California gives you a permit. The final thing you can do is you can raise money using a law called regulation crowdfunding, and this allows you to raise $1.07 million from anyone you want, as long as you raise money through a website called a funding portal. So you can tell people who want to give you money for your business to go to the funding portal to check out what your offering is about and to raise money through that portal. These are all ways to raise money from people who really care about your company and are aligned with your mission and your values. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please share. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.